Hello, everyone. I'm going to introduce Aisha really quickly. I'm not going to go too far into her bio because I really want us to have time to have a unique conversation.
Because it's very meager. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried this, and I know that you've already heard this joke, but you can Google me. So, I don't know if you know how to use it. We work here, we don't use Google, come on! We just have it all in our heads magically.
The problem, people think we are Google. That's
yeah, so
the
they come to you and be like, so I need to get to 917 North 24th Street.
Exactly.
If you could drop a pin, that would be great. Search nearby for some restaurants, that would be awesome too.
So that actually says more than her bio does. But really quickly, she was actually the first African-American and female host on E's Talk Soup. I don't know how many of you guys used to watch that, but that was one of my favorite shows. After Talk Soup, she moved into television and film roles. She was also the first African-American to play an extended character role on Friends, which I was really excited about. I think we're all really excited about that. She played on The Ghost Whisperer, CSI, 24, Nip Tuck, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Rio 911, The Boondocks, and many, many more.
So many more, like 3 or 4 more than that. 3 or 4.
You want to talk about those 3 or 4 more?
At least.
So I'm going to go back a little bit, far back, 2 years ago, and talk about when you returned to your stand-up roots.
Yeah.
You created a DVD called Aisha Tyler is Lit.
Yes. Yes.
Live at the Fillmore. And you also wrote, directed, and starred in a viral rap video called No Acetol. Can we play that really quickly?
We're going to see it. It's very
exciting.
We're
going to see it.
Oh, it's awesome. We're actually going to the real internet.
If there was a pill or a cream to make my booty large, I'd try and face it. My
shit's more flat than Angelina's on a diet. No shake them with these fries, no ass at all. And when I pass, I hurt your eyes, no ass at all. My shit been cut way down the sides, no ass at all. That's all. Nah, but don't really don't. My lady lumps just ain't no fun. I ain't got no buns, hun. Yo, anaconda won't want none. There's no motor in the back of my Honda, though I am a mocha fox. When white boys check my backside, they say one word, locks. I was born a poor black girl, and I've had to bust my ass through strife. I'm not complaining, I love comedy, I love my family, I love my life. Though I'm grateful to make reality out of many of my wishes. One dream just won't come true, wish I could be more bootylicious. I don't have but just a little, no ass at all. And when I wiggle, it don't wiggle, no ass at all. My chocolate pudding doesn't jiggle, no ass at all. That's all. I don't have but just a little, no ass at all. And when I wiggle, it don't wiggle, no ass at all. My friends are trying not to giggle, no ass at all. That's all.
That was
so
an awesome
exciting that
video.
the internet worked. Wow.
So were we. As a native of the San Francisco Bay Area, I suffer from a similar disorder.
Yes.
It's not that bad, but I definitely can't
Nothing
compete
is
with some of
mine
the
as bad as
ladies in the
mine.
audience. So tell us why you made that video and what messages you hope to convey.
Oh, wow. So heady, so early in the conversation. I had some money left over for making my comedy special, and I was just tired of hookers and blow, thought I'd spend it some other way. No, here's why. I mean, I'm in the entertainment business. I grew up here, and I was born in the city, but I spent a good amount of time in the East Bay, and I was often, for most of my childhood, and probably until about sophomore year of high school, the only or one of 2 or 3 black people in my school. And so I was kind of an outsider in that I went to an all-white school, and I lived in a black neighborhood, and the kids in my school didn't really particularly relate to me, and the girls in my neighborhood, you already seen how they felt about me. And so I always had to kind of explain myself and articulate who I was, and I really, when I was younger, it was really, I was definitely in a lot of ways socially odd and a little bit of a pariah. I was a loner and I was a big reader. My parents didn't believe in television. So there's pretty much no better combination for being really, really popular and cool than being a 6 feet tall, only black vegetarian kid in your school who doesn't have a TV. That's good. I was like, hey, you guys want to read together? Do some Middle-earth discussions. Silmarillion, anybody? Over time it became like my red badge of courage. I'm a weird kid and I'm proud of how different I am, and it also was a little bit of a manifesto. I wanted to this was my first special, and I wanted to tell my story and tell it first, so I didn't have to tell it inside the show. I wanted to be able to talk about other things. But when I first started doing stand-up and I would get up in front of a crowd, I had to spend 5 minutes being like, this is why I talk like this is why I act like this, this is who I am, and getting people to kind of come along, because I think for better or worse, the explosion of comedy and the explosion of diversity in comedy has given rise to a lot of really great things. And then one of the negative things is that people really want to categorize you. If you're a black comic, you talk about these things. If you're a female comic, you talk about these things. And I don't do any of that. And people, I'd get up and they'd be like, what? I just didn't want to have to. I just wanted to just do the manifesto at the top of the show so that I could just get into other ideas and other concepts. And we did it. The comedy special, the way that it happened was I got a deal with a company where they were like, here's how much money you have to spend, and you can spend it any way you want. And I thought, again, hookers and blow. 50-50. But I thought instead of paying a producer, I'll produce this whole thing myself and use the extra money to add some value, add some creative value. And so when we were going to do this, Comedy Central was like, nobody likes music videos. People always change the channel the minute they come on. No one's going to watch this. And my show played after a Chris Rock rerun and like had the highest number after any Chris Rock show. You know, usually people watch Chris Rock and then, I don't know, run off to just I don't know what people do after they watch Chris. Run into the street, scream, take their clothes off. You know, Chris makes me feel awesome and crazy. But everybody stayed, and the video's been really popular, and it was great. It was a nice thing to be able to have something that I'd written, and I directed it, produced it, I edited it, I cut it, I posted it, I did everything. So it was also a great creative process for me. Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you. It looks we shot it in HD, by the way. That was not really the best version that you could have seen. That's grainy pop-up ads for Lady Gaga videos, but whatever.
You guys can look up the HD version as well online. Let's talk about your podcast.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about my podcast.
Girl on Guy with Aisha Tyler.
Yeah.
It's a show about stuff guys love, brought to you by the Ultimate Guys Girl.
I didn't write that.
Well, somebody did. I don't.
I might have written it under a pen name.
It kind of sounded like you, maybe. Video games, action movies, drinking, comic books, sex, blowing shit up, all of that good stuff. And it is already the one of the top downloaded podcasts on iTunes and Zune.
Yeah, it's doing really well. Yeah, it's only 5. It debuted. I don't really know how this happened. I'm waiting for a shoe. I'm waiting for whatever the other shoe is to drop. Just the devil just steaming at my doorstep. Just like this
big shoe.
The show. We've had 5 episodes. I thought I'm going to do this for like a year or two, and then hopefully it'll catch on. It debuted at number 4 at All Comedy Podcast, and it pretty much is hovering between. It was like number 1 for a little while. Here's what happens: your show downloads on a Tuesday, goes to number 1, then that guy's show downloads on a Wednesday, and then it goes to number 1. So we're in this kind of pitched battle for nothing. By the way, I don't know if you know this. Podcasts are free, so we're in a pitched battle for who can spend more of their own money on shit for other people. But it is nice because I'm the only woman in the top 10 comedy list, and that's really gratifying, and I'm really proud of the show, and people are responding to it really nicely. I mean, this is again something where I had an idea for a show. Should I tell my whole life story?
Please.
I was born a poor black child. No, what it is that we were talking about this. My parents divorced when they were kind of young, and this is, the kind of the divorce battle over kids. That's something that rich people do. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's the rich people that are like, you can't have the children till you give me the 3rd car. Poor people are like, you don't have any money, I don't have any money, just take one. Which one do you want? If I can buy groceries, I'll buy them. If you can buy them, you buy them. I can't even afford this phone conversation right now. So my mom got my sister, and my dad took me, and I just was raised by a single dad. And he was a great guy and a really attentive, really loving dad, but he was a guy. And so I had just a very guy-oriented childhood. My dad took me, the first movie he took me to see was Road Warrior, which is really great, entertaining, just like for like an 8 or 9-year-old girl. That's a good. Daddy, they ripped the guy's hand off with a chain. Why? Want to sleep with the light on? I don't want to sleep ever again. That's what I don't want. And my dad didn't even have a car. We didn't have a car till I was in high school, so I grew up on the back of a motorcycle. And my dad actually had to build this harness. He had a custom-built harness to hold me on the bike because I was such a nerd. I would read on his back. And then I was like, what's gonna happen with Frodo and Bilbo? And I would start to fly off. So to keep me from death by science fiction, he had this thing he would strap me to his back so I could read on his back. So I just had this really, really like dude-like childhood. And also like dads have this really simplistic approach to daycare. I mean, nowadays where we're like, little Billy's allergic to peanuts, and he's not allergic, he just doesn't like them, and he gets hyper when he eats them, and no television if it's not Charlie Rose. Back then my dad was like, look, I have a date, I'm dropping you off at the arcade with $20 in quarters, don't talk to strangers. That was how it was. I grew up on video games, and I'm a huge gamer. I was like a big Defender. I was a huge Defender. We had a Defender game across the street in the laundromat from my house, and I just would wear that shit out. And just the push all buttons, just, and like Tiny, your kids would come in, I'd be like, you're not getting on this game until you're like 11, so just get out of here, leave now. So I was just a huge gamer, and I wanted to do a show that was about the stuff that I was into. And when I would talk to people about doing it as a TV show, they would go, boys aren't gonna watch a girl talk about guy stuff, unless you're gonna take your shirt off. I was like, sure, guys want to hear you talk with your shirt off. That's what they want. Okay. So at every strip club, they're like, I'd like to pay you $20 so we could talk about raising the debt ceiling. That would be great. If you could sit on my lap while we discuss world politics, that would be really. So I just said, I'm just gonna make this show, and I just made the show, and people really love it, and I think it feels different than a lot of other podcasts in that it's a one-on-one conversation, not just with men. It's about guy stuff, but I do have women on the show as well, and I talk with a lot of female comedians because probably 95% of our time we're the only woman in the work context that we're in. I've been to comedy clubs where I look at their calendar for the year, and there are 51 weeks of guys and me. So we have a very specific kind of life, and I just wanted to make a show that came from that perspective, and it's been great, and people love it because they get to come on and talk about their lives and not talk about their work. I mean, I think you do 30 interviews about a project, and it's just refreshing to sit down and just talk about who you are and how you got to where you are right now. So, and we curse a lot. Whee! There's no FCC in the interwebs, so it's great.
Wonderful. Speaking of video games, I saw in an interview that you actually play a voice in Halo Reach. How many of you guys play Halo?
Anybody play Halo? Anybody heard of Halo?
Yeah,
anybody?
I'm pretty sure.
Anybody ever break a bone and have to wear a Halo? Yeah, I'm a huge. Halo was probably my gateway drug back into gaming. I stopped playing for a long time, and then I started playing the first Halo game, and I don't even remember that year. I think I blacked out. Really, It's really sad to be a grown woman with a mortgage and be up at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday trying to kill digital aliens. That makes you want to reconsider all your life choices up to that point. But I will say, you guys are all here safe and sound right now because of shit I did on Halo last night. That's all I'm saying. I save the universe every day. So you can come here and eat organic nut things.
And you're preparing for the zombie invasion.
I am
right?
ready for the zombie apocalypse, by the way, fully prepared.
Yeah.
If it goes down, I've got crossbows. I'm ready to go. I've got a sawed off. I got a hammer.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sometimes you need a hammer. Sometimes you want to kill a zombie with no noise. There are times when they call for silence. You know what I mean? And that's when a hammer comes in very handy.
Very nice.
The zombies are dumb, but they're also slow, and that's what's great about zombies. I prefer a zombie apocalypse to an alien invasion if we had to get into it, I think. Aliens, they seem fast, right? How come they never make an alien movie about like blobs coming down and just like you're just like, there's aliens, and they're just like, yeah, we're here. We're gonna fuck you up at some point. Really like a 4-hour movie.
Maybe not as exciting. I don't know.
It's not so exciting. Then we just, we're like, what's that new coffee table? It's an alien. They don't move very quickly. A year is like 4,000 of our years. We've got plenty of time. Yeah, we got plenty of time. Yeah, and then we hit them with a hammer.
Awesome. Another project you have is that you are currently a voice as the super sexy spy, Lana Kane.
Yeah,
on Archer.
Archer, yeah. I love that
Which
show
is
so much.
the highest rated news show in FX history, which is pretty awesome. You've had a lot of firsts.
I've had a lot of
woman,
firsts.
First African American. It's all wonderful.
I don't really know how it happened. I don't know. Do any of you guys listen to the Nerdist podcast? Anybody here? Anybody?
There's a hand back there.
Nice. Yeah. I don't want to state the obvious, but I'm confused that there's one guy at Google who's heard of the Nerdist podcast. It's very.
There's one guy that admitted it, but there's many more in the audience.
It's okay. You guys are cooler than I expected. It's awesome. Like, we listen to the Sex and Guns podcast, bitches. Bam. But Chris just sent me an email, and he was like, he took a picture, a little screen grab of my show at number 1 on iTunes, and he said, look at you, and I said, I have no idea how this happened, and I really don't. I have no idea how all these first happened. I did it. I'm not running around thinking that I'm going to be a trailblazer. I think I'm just trying to do stuff that I'm interested in and that I'm excited about, and that feel compelling to me. I think the entertainment business is shot through with originality, yes, driven by a desire to be new and different. And I just felt like I wanted to find a way to be excited every day when I got up from work. This business, people always go, well, how do you pick your projects? How do you choose, these original things? How do you become such a groundbreaker? I'm like, look, the person who can say yes to jobs is Tom Cruise. That's the guy who's like, I'd like to do this. The rest of us are like, please, sir, may I have some more? So hungry. I'd like to make enough to make my SAG minimum for health insurance this year, please. I'll be an extra on Jersey Shore, please. So hungry. So I don't know that I've chosen to be a groundbreaker. I've just been lucky that some things have come along that have been interesting and exciting. I've said no to some things. I've said no to some things I thought might not be the best use of my talent, But I don't know how that happened. Friends was. I didn't think like, I'm gonna go be the first black girl on Friends. And I made a little flag, hey, here we go, everybody, It's not like that at all.
We all did that though. We celebrated.
Yeah, I mean, afterwards you kind of look back and you look at whatever it is, you're just trying to do good work, and then you look back and you see that maybe the assembled body of the work that you've created is bigger than the sum of any one part that you were making at the time. That was a show that I was a fan of, and I went in and I auditioned for it. And one of the big reasons I think I got it was because I had seen every episode of Friends when I went in there, So I knew, I was like, I know what these guys want, But it wasn't like I thought I'm going to change the world. And it wasn't a role that was written for an African-American actress. I auditioned, it wasn't written African-American, not in the text. They auditioned, it was me, 3 other Caucasian actresses, and an Asian actress. I mean, they were just looking for the right person. And with Archer, again, it was like I got this script. It was an amazing script for a tiny show that I was sure nobody was ever going to see, mainly because I got to say the word ball slappiest in the pilot. It's like, this is not getting on television. Does anybody? Do you guys have like a standards and practices group? And we still feel that way. We went to Comic-Con last year with the show, and it was a room of about this many people. And then we went there this year, and it was an airplane hangar of people. And it was so exciting. And it wasn't like, we're so awesome. It was like, if this is all the people that ever watch our show, this is plenty. This is so great, This is enough. I'm happy now. So, I also feel like having been such a weird kid and such a kind of an outsider my whole life, I'm very comfortable being in that place. And I think if you're comfortable being an outsider and you embrace it, the likelihood is much higher that you're going to make work to please yourself and not other people, and therefore that work will stand out and will be compelling. I don't want to be everybody's friend. I just want to be all the weird kids' friends. They're just...
You're at Google, so...
Yeah, it's sweet. It's a whole campus full of weird kids.
Exactly.
Who, by the way, I tell people now, like they always say, what would you say to like the teenage you, or what would you say to kids like you? And I'm like, and this is not my idea. This is an old saw, but all the kids that I went to hung out with in high school or saw in high school that were like hot and they were having sex. Who has sex in high school? Who has sex in college? Who has sex in their 20s? No. All the kids that were super cool in high school, like popular and good looking, like they never had to try. You know what I mean? They never had to try to fit in. They never had to try to be smart or be funny. They never had to try to make their ideas heard. It just was very easy for them. Their life was very much a layup. And those are the people that when they get out in the real world, it's very, very difficult for them. They just, everything feels very easy. And for the kids that really struggle, that really, felt like, God, there's nobody like me. Those are the kids that strike out and they do original things and they do, and they do stuff like Google, and they create new ideas and they create new businesses because, they don't feel like, oh, no one's gonna like this. Like, no one already likes me. You know what I mean? I'm good with the pariah shit. It's okay, So, as they eat their ramen noodles in the corner. So for me, it's just been, I'm really trying, and now maybe there's a part of me that feels like there's this, there's a community online of different kinds of people that have come up now around the stuff that I've done or that are excited about the stuff that I've done. Like, I want to make it cool for little girls to like stuff that little girls shouldn't like, and I want to make it cool for little kids who are not white to like stuff that like not white kids aren't supposed to like. Like I listened to punk rock and I skated and I listened to heavy metal when I was in high school, mainly because I was sick of people telling me black kids don't skate and black kids don't like heavy metal and I was like, go shove it. I'm going to set this on fire and then I'm going to shove it for you. I just hated that. I hated being told what I should do and how to fit in. So for me, I want it to be okay to be weird, to be a weird kid, and also to be a really weird adult. I think that that's good. Embrace your weirdness. Yeah.
I think you've accomplished that. That's
what's
awesome.
that? Have I accomplished that?
I think so.
Well, I'm really weird. I know that part. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. And now it's too late. You just get to a point in your life as an adult where you're like, I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. I could try to change, but Breaking Bad is coming on. I'll change in a week or two. I got to go back and watch all of Game of Thrones again. Then I'll change. I'll change after that. Yeah.
Oh, I love that show.
Oh, God. Ned,
why
did they do it to Ned? Oh, my God. There's the best YouTube video. Okay, so here's a good example of this. So let me say that. That was 8-year-old Aisha coming out.
You got a little excited. I
get so excited
It's
about
fine.
Game of Thrones. I can't just start crying.
It's all right.
Game of Thrones made me so crazy. And God, it was like to think about, right? It was like to talk about. Anybody else? Nobody. The second to last episode. Anyway, I don't want to spoiler alert. If you were in a wormhole up until now, yeah, cover your ears. If you've not seen it, leave the room. If you do know, you can download it on the internet. So and also, this isn't even my joke, but like the whole thing where I posted something about it like 4 days after the second to last episode happened. And someone's like, Aisha, spoiler alert. I was like, there's already a spoiler out there. It's called the book. But is my mic off? Is it off? I broke it. Okay, good. So the second to last episode, something very terrible happens to Ed Stark, and then there was like this 5-minute thing on the couch where you just stared at the TV like you couldn't believe it, like you're just waiting for like magical elves to come and be like, no, he's not dead, like Ewoks, jub, and then it was like it was so upsetting. So we mourned for a little while, as nerds are wont to do, and we went away. We played a little Braid, a little bit of Portal 2, and we eased through it. And there's this video on the internet, and it just shows you how diverse kind of nerddom is now, because it's this black guy, one of my people, and he is so upset. He is so upset about Ned dying, and his friend is filming him, and the guy is going crazy. He's like, he's using a specific word that white people like to use occasionally, and but I'm not going to use that word. He's just going, they killed my brother Ned! They killed my brother Ned! And he's like, his friend's like, it's like somebody really died. It's the best thing ever. He's kicking things, and I'm like, that's how I feel right now. They killed Ned.
It's horrible.
So yes, being a nerd is very hard. We're just so much more emotional than regular people, Yeah, suspension of disbelief is not a joke with nerds. That's what I'm saying. All right.
You okay now?
No, I'm not okay. I'm working through it, but I'm not okay. No. Sweating, I knocked my chair over. Just imagine that I was this exact girl, this exact size, and I was 8. You can just, yes. Why won't anybody play with me? It's pretty much how it was, so, yeah. Thank you. That's only mildly hyperbolic, I want you to know. All right.
I'm gonna wait for them to calm down in the front over there. Let's bring it down a little bit.
Can we bring it down? Is it possible? I don't think so.
And talk about how you are also an author.
I am an author.
You're a contributor to Glamour magazine. You write about the media's unrealistic portrayal of feminine beauty.
I do that.
You're a comedic columnist for the Entertainment Weekly, and you wrote a book called Swerve: Reckless Observations of a Postmodern Girl. Mm-hmm. Could you please tell us what that's about?
I don't know. You know, I wanted to write. The reason the book came about was I was doing these stand-up shows, and my stand-up is very much like a conversation. It's not like a series of jokes. I just kind of talk with the audience, and I really want it to feel like we're having a conversation as a group. But what would happen is I would have these great conversations with fans after the show, and they were much more long form and more sprawling. And I just wanted to have that kind of conversation with people about things that I knew I wasn't going to be able to really fit into like the 1 hour show that I do. So and also at the time I think I had just read Chuck Klosterman's first book, Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs, which is the best book ever. Oh my God, if you hadn't read it, you have to read it right now. He's like so amazing because he kind of does, he's one of these people that kind of synthesizes kind of sociocultural analysis and like big thinky ideas with like really, really low culture stuff, you know what I mean? And, so there's like, and this stuff about serial killers and stuff about cereal, you know what I mean, in the same book. And it's almost rhyming. And so I loved that, and I wanted to write a book that was in that vein. And so Swerve is a collection of essays about popular culture from my point of view. And there is some kind of, it's not a how-to book, it's not a self-help book, it's not an autobiography. It's really just kind of the same sociocultural analysis that I do. I sound so much smarter than I am. Learn like 5 big words, just sprinkle them liberally throughout conversation. That I do in my act, which is just talking about who we are as a culture and how we see things as a culture and kind of turning it on its head. So, but it's everything from talking about, God, I don't even have, the book is here somewhere, but everything from using our Art of War as a dating manual to, yes. It's really
you wanna
effective.
Elaborate on that one?
Either you're going to get laid or somebody's going to die, one or the other. Siege techniques, very good when trying to pick up on a guy or a girl. And also just about like the kind of the rise of the music video and the music video culture and what that's doing to the way that we see ourselves and the way that we relate to each other. But they're all funny. They're all funny essays, and there's a lot of drinking stories in there. I'm a comedian, so it's all going to end with drinking at some point, because we get booze for free. I don't know if you knew that about our job. In the beginning, they just pay you in chicken wings and light beer. That's just, it's a classy way to make a living.
Very classy. If we have any live questions in the room, go ahead and line up at the mic. In the meantime, I'm going to ask a question from our Dory page.
From who?
Our Dory page.
Your what page?
That's our internal tool. You can see the questions up there. So those are people that submitted questions online.
Okay, what did you call it?
Dory.
Dory. What is that? Is that an acronym?
We name our tools stuff.
Like a person, like the fish?
Yeah. Like Nemo.
You guys have a lot of time on your hands here at Google. All right, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. What good versus bad advice have you been given about how to succeed as a woman or woman of color in the industry? Who have been your best mentors?
Ooh. Wow. Okay. I will say, I'm going to answer that 2 parts. Second part first. My best mentor has been my parents, and specifically my father. My dad grew up in Pittsburgh, which wasn't really a hopping town back then, and hadn't really improved much since then. And Detroit looked at Pittsburgh and goes, "Man, you got to get your shit together." And he was a family with his dad died when he was very young, and he was the only man, 4 sisters and his mom, and just in poverty, and didn't make it past the 8th grade, and was had to really struggle in when he was a teenager. And then just completely remade his life. And my father is such an optimist. He's not a Pollyanna. He's not like an idealist. He is somebody who just doesn't quit. And what that translates to when you're a little kid is, I know you broke your arm, suck that shit up. But what it translates to as an adult is that you're the architect of your own destiny, and you can do anything that you want to do. And my dad he's a big aphorism guy. He's got a lot of sayings. I don't know, do dads go to a class when they're like, you know what I mean? Like, your wife is pregnant, there's like a secret, okay, you got to come up with some sayings. We're going to pitch some stuff out today. But my dad had a lot. His favorite was keep your grades and your draws up. That was his favorite one. Classic. It holds up even to this day, really, right? It's He would give me a big speech when I would leave the house, and it was along the lines of, "What are you going to do today?" And I'd have to go. He would say, "Whose day is it?" And I would say, "It's my day." And then he would say, "What are you going to do?" And I'd say, "Grab it by the balls." Again, super appropriate when you're 8. And we always joke that my father is such a forward-looking person that if his house was on fire, he would go get marshmallows on a stick. Do you know what I mean? He's that guy. He just cannot be defeated, you know? And so he's probably my biggest mentor. In the business, I would love to say that there have been women who have mentored me, but it's mostly been men. Assuming they were all trying to sleep with me.
Most likely.
Most likely. Oh, they lost out big time. Who won? Me. No, mainly because comedy is dominated by men. I've had women who have been really good friends and good supporters, but when I was looking forward, it was mostly guys. And a couple of comedians that really I remember vividly. A comedian named Tom Rhodes, who I don't think he's a Bay Area native, but he's lived here for a long time, and he's incredibly smart, incredibly funny, and would let me come and do like a guest set, which is where you go to their show and do a few minutes on their show, and he was just incredible, encouraging. And I remember going to him once, and I was like, "Well, just tell me what to do, to be like you. How do I get to where you are?" And he's like, "You just gotta keep getting on stage." And I was like, "You just don't want me to know, you know." But it was true. It was like it's like an athlete. The way you win races is by running races. And so he was incredibly helpful. George Lopez has been really, really kind to me over the years. This is a self-starting business, comedy. It's not like a business where you get a job and you work and you build up equity and a reputation and you move forward, and unless you touch somebody on the boobs inappropriately or set your desk on fire, you're gonna move forward. You know what I mean? My job is a job where you can be the CEO and then be fired and be an assistant, and then be the CEO again and then fired and be assistant, then be the CEO a third time, and then flame out miserably because you wrote a check to a whore in Las Vegas for $30,000. I don't know who that is. Who did that?
You know who that is.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen. So it is not a meritocracy, my business, at all. That doesn't mean that hard work isn't valuable, but it's not what a lot of times talented, hardworking people don't get ahead, and awful, terrible, half-naked drunks get a 4th season of their show on MTV. Who could that be? Jersey Shore. So. You have to believe in yourself and be unwavering in your belief that you have something to contribute. And there aren't a lot of people, not that they're selfish, but it's such a every man and woman for themselves kind of a business that it's rare for someone to kind of take you under their wing. It's more of a foxhole mentality. Like people always like, "Hey, get my movie made." I'm like, "Dude, I can't get my movie made. So, I'll take you out to lunch." So there's a lot of kind of like, you know what I mean? Lateral collaboration, I think, in my business, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a question?
Hi, Aisha. My name is Belinda. And,
Hi, Belinda.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I have a statement. It's very quick because I know a lot of people have questions. But I first noticed you when you were hosting Talk Soup, and you immediately jumped out at me because I saw my daughter in you. My daughter is a theater major, and she's been interested in performing arts for from year one, from her birth. And and I've always used you as a role model for her. And it's like, look at Aisha Tyler. And the reason why is because she's grown up here in the Bay Area. She's sort of the outsider, doesn't fit into the stereotypes of black females, or in particularly in her direction in performing arts. So basically, I just wanted to quickly say thank you for being true to yourself. And, because it means so much for other people who also want to be true to themselves. So thank you very much.
That's really kind. Thank you so much. Thank you. I wonder if you play video games.
A little Halo.
A little bit, okay.
So I just want to know what's going on with season 3 Archer, and if you have any comments, or if it's going to stay as good, if it's
Is it going to stay? Is it going to suck? Is that your question? Please don't suck. Well, we're working on season 3 right now, and it's going to be freaking awesome. And Yes, it's going to be great. Our show is, I am just a happy, like, bus rider on our show. The guy who created it, Adam Reed, is a genius. He writes amazing scripts. He writes the entire show by himself. When we got our second season order, they were like, hey, now you're a big man, you can hire, Oompa Loompas to write the show, And no one could really write the show the way that Adam wrote it. So now Adam writes everything, which I'm sure he really regrets, except for when he's lying on a big bag of money. But he's amazing.
Are you just the voice then?
I'm just the voice. Here's how this show works. He writes an amazing script.
Sorry, not just.
I'm just the voice. I also sweep up. That's okay. Adam writes these amazing scripts, and then we get in the room and we each record our parts completely separate from each other. But what we do a lot of is say it a million times, say it this way, say it that way, add this word, change that word, now go nuts. So we do a lot of ad-libbing they animate to what we've recorded, so we do a lot of ad-libbing in the recording process. And a lot of things that we've said in casual conversation end up in following episodes because it's really, we're a comedy troupe, you know what I mean? We've really started to kind of figure out each other's tempo and voice. So, but I wish I could take credit for the show. If I could, I guarantee you I would. But nah. So, and we're doing it's a larger season this season. We had 13 episodes last season. It's gonna be 16 this season. So yeah. You gotta check it out. The first episode airs September 15th. Cool. Yeah.
Very nice.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jana. I actually just graduated from Dartmouth.
Oh my God, that's awesome!
I brought this. I was told it's probably a 6 out of 10 on the tacky scale, but I brought it anyway.
It's adorable. No, it's like a 10 out of 10 on the awesome scale.
Thank you. I just wanted to know about your experience at Dartmouth and how it impacted you. I just came from there, and so it's an interesting place to be sometimes as a black female, but how it impacted you in your pursuit of your career.
I found my husband there. Not that I was planning on getting married. God, did you guys know you have to do that for like ever? Wow. It's like, are you still here, really? Okay. Nothing in the garage you want to do? My husband and I just had our 17th wedding anniversary, so yeah, totally. I know. Thank you. In Hollywood years, it's like a double diamond platinum. I really loved Dartmouth, but I will say this, I grew up in a very progressive place. Obviously, I grew up in the Bay Area, and Dartmouth, when I went, was even more conservative than it is now. It was infamous for conservatism. It was right around the time of South African divestment, and a lot of students were protesting, and they'd built like this big shanty town on the green at Dartmouth, and the really like arch conservative group of kids like sledgehammered it down in the middle of the night and almost killed somebody that was sleeping inside. I mean, it was a really intense place to go to school. My high school counselor said, "Don't go there because you're going to martyr your college career." And then I said, "I'm going to set this on fire and shove it up your butt." And I went there immediately. Yeah. I don't ever tell me not what to do. You know what I mean? I'll do it, except for if you tell me something stupid, and then I won't do it. I mean, like. I loved it, maybe because I was such an outsider. Again, I really embraced that, and I liked being so different. I think I wore Birkenstocks for the entire freshman year, through the winter, by the way. That takes commitment. I'd like the ugly wool socks. I was like, I'm a hippie! And just walk around with an avocado in my hand. Who wants some of this? So, I really embraced my outsiderness, and I made a point of making a point, I think. But what I loved about Dartmouth was that it's a smaller school, and you can really make a mark there. You can be a big fish in a small pond. And also, I was a big snowboarder, so I spent a lot of time snowboarding there. Yeah, and I taught snowboarding. And Dartmouth has its own mountain. And by mountain, I mean that if you put some plywood off that deck out there, pretty much replicated here. So, but I loved that part about it. I was a founding member of the Rockapellas, so I was really into singing. And I was a weird kid, but it was a good place to be a weird kid. Sometimes it's nice to go to a place where you're not quite right in the middle of the bullseye of the mainstream. You know what I mean? Because you just are forced to look at yourself and how you want to make your life choices a little bit harder. So I liked that, and I found my people. I was in the Tabard. If you guys don't know about the Tabard, One person knows about the Tabard. Okay, so yes, the one from Canterbury Tales. There was a fraternity. I'm telling you all about stuff you didn't ask about. It's continuing a theme. The Tabard was formerly a fraternity called Sigma Chi, which on the national level is very like intensely conservative. Yeah, very conservative. And it's gonna get all political. Okay, so in the 70s, it was, you couldn't get into the fraternity if you were black or Jewish. And Dartmouth told the fraternity, if you don't start admitting blacks and Jews, we're going to kick you off of campus. And they said, we've never heard of blacks or Jews. What is this that you talk about? So then they nattied their bow tie and strode away. So Dartmouth did kick them off of campus, and the result was that Sigma Chi became the Tabard, and it was just jam-packed with blacks and Jews, and women and hippies, and it became this really liberal fraternity that also had women. So it was a co-ed fraternity. Nobody was having sex, though. And it became like this kind of paragon of progressivism. And it was a really cool place to join, because if you weren't a big joiner, that was the place that you could join and feel like you were a part of a group of people that was like you. But it was very open. I mean, there were very conservative people in the Tabard and very liberal people in the Tabard. And it was really a place that embraced otherness. No matter who you were, you could be a part, and there was no judgment. And it was a great, great place. It smelled like feet, though. Let me tell you that right now. It's like hippies, not big on the hygiene. All right. It's nice to meet you. Did you like it there?
I loved it.
Yeah, it's so great. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, a lot of drinking.
All right, we'll take another Dory question really quick.
Oh, okay, Dory question.
You've taken on Ann Coulter. Who else would you like to debate?
Oh, God. Well, I just had a big Twitter fight with Andrew Breitbart online this week. Yeah.
Very nice.
I know, right? He's a D-bag. They're so angry. Why are they so angry? Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think, like, do we seem that angry? I don't know. I think I'm a pretty happy person. No, I'm not angry at all. I love everybody. I do a radio show on Tuesday mornings. This is a syndicated show, Stephanie Miller's show, and she has a segment called Tuesdays with Tyler every Tuesday morning. And I really will say, thank you. I am, radio still around. What? Terrestrial radio, where does that come from? Okay, so I am a progressive, but I really do believe in civic debate. I think that you can disagree with people in a thoughtful, considered way and not resort to name calling. I really do believe in that. I don't know why I'm such a dumb idealist, but I think I can disagree with you and we can argue our point. I'm confident enough in where I stand to not feel like I have to force it down your throat or call you names because we don't agree. So, but on that particular day, they had played a quote from Rush Limbaugh that was essentially the equivalent of the president is trying to turn America into a Middle Eastern fiefdom or something, and then he likes to eat babies. It was something like that. And all I said was, oh, catch on fire, D-bag. And, which isn't even the most artful comeback, really, is it? I'm not proud of it. If I had some time, I could have written something better. But then the internet lit up. And I quote, violent, lefty, liberal slut, Aisha Tyler. I was like, slut? What? Really? Why? My husband would be interested to find that out. Husband that I've been with since I was 19. I'm like, I wish I could be slutty in my house. That would be great, right? Like, hey, you and me, more than once a month, let's do this. Anybody else been married for 17 years? Come on, this isn't news. So. It went so extreme so quickly, and a lefty violent liberal slut who eats babies, Aisha Tyler, wishes murder on Rush Limbaugh by immolation, and I was like, what? Like, the worst I wish was that he would spontaneously combust, which isn't even really like I think we've proved on Snopes that could never happen. So, it's like if I said suck an egg, someone would say she's trying to murder him with salmonella. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way, there's no winning. So Andrew Breitbart said, I hope Aisha Tyler blanks in a blank, and then someone wrote, you should have Andrew Breitbart on your show, and then I said, I would love that if I thought that Andrew Breitbart was the kind of man brave enough to have a civil conversation with someone he disagrees with. Oh, zinger! And he has not responded because he's a pussy. I'm sorry, you're going to have to bleep. This is going to be, here's Aisha Tyler. Boo! Thank you for coming to Google. Good night.
One last question.
Hi, Aisha, my name's Curtis.
Hi, Curtis.
So my question assumes that as a comedian, social media has been a big boom for you.
I think so.
It seems like as 5 or 6 years ago, as long as you didn't steal somebody else's material and didn't talk smack about them unless they stole material, you were done. But these days, it seems like you, as a comedian, might have an obligation to cross-promote everybody else's podcast and book and show and tweets and on and on and on, and that other people will do the same for you.
Right.
Is that a correct perception?
You know, I think that's really very, very perceptive, very astute. Maybe I would use different language and not so much talk about obligation as opportunity, in that the successful podcast community is actually relatively small. There are obviously a jillion podcasts, but the podcasts that are winning, for lack of a better word, thanks Charlie Sheen, is very, for so many things really, is very narrow. And actually, Chris Hardwick said it best in that if one boat rises in the podcast verse, which is also his word, I don't want to say that I took that as his word, we all rise. So if you have a show that's successful, it really does elevate all the other podcasts. And there are, I'm sure there are some great ones that no one's heard of, but the ones that are at the top are generally pretty well produced and pretty interesting. So yeah, if you have a friend who's got a show, I've never said, hey, put me on your show and I'll put you on my show. But mainly, I've just called people that I know where they've called me and, you know, I'm going to do your show. Why wouldn't? You know, and why wouldn't we do that for each other, you know? And there are shows that, like, I just did Scarborough Country, which is a fantastic podcast. It's a sports-oriented podcast, a really well produced, way more like radio than my little crappy thing that I do. But I just was listening to their show and I tweeted, oh my God, I'm listening to Scarborough Country and it's hilarious. And then they called like 3 days later and said, hey, come on the show. So there's that nice kind of supportive thing. I think you want people who are talented and funny to win. And if you do them a favor, they want to do it back for you. So like I just did Chris's show and he's coming on my show in about a week. And I think right now, because it's finally kind of getting some teeth, podcasting, but it's still relatively new for the rest of the world. I don't know what the numbers are. I feel it's like maybe 20% of the country has downloaded or listened to a podcast at some point. I don't know what critical mass, somebody have an algorithm in here? Somebody? Anybody at Google have an algorithm? For working out when that's going to kind of be like a real number. But I think, again, you've got somebody who's got a successful show, you go on their show, that helps your show and vice versa. And so for me right now, because I've either done or I'm going to do most of the big podcasts, I just did The Nerdist, Corolla just came on my show. I don't know if I'm ever going to do Mark's show. He's a shut-in and an odd fellow. But if he asked, I would do it. I would absolutely do it, and I would have him on if he wanted to come on my show, because I think it helps all of us. And also, I do one thing in the context of my show. My show is its own animal. I think the way that podcasts win is to really find a very clear path and approach for your show. That's like, people know this is the experience I'm going to have when I listen to this podcast, and try to find something that's definitive. So the experience you're going to have with me on my show is very different than when I'm on someone else's show, and vice versa. You know what I mean? You're going to get a totally different experience and different information from someone depending on the context. So in that way, I think they complement. Right now, the podcasts that are doing well, that are interesting, they really do complement each other, and they're all kind of parts of a pie.
Thank you.
It was nice talking with you.
Thank you. I want to make a quick announcement. You are going to be at Tres Agaves in San Francisco tomorrow.
Just drinking, really. Anybody? Anyway?
Doing a Valencia fundraiser. And from what I understand, the show is sold out.
Yeah, the show is sold out. But if I could just say 1 minute about if you guys don't know about 826 Valencia, this is a charity that Dave Eggers, the genius writer, yes, one person reads books, that's awesome. 2 people, all right. Man, e-readers are really killing us. So Dave Eggers created this charity called 826 Valencia that tutors underprivileged youth, provides totally free tutoring, and also kind of mentors them to help help tutor other kids when they get a little older. Teachers and all kinds of other people volunteer, help kids with their reading and writing skills. They put out these quarterly publications where kids get their work published in a book. If you know anything about Dave Eggers' imprint, McSweeney's, if you've ever seen the McSweeney's Quarterly or The Believer, he is an incredible believer, not just in the concept of the printed word, but in beautifully printed books and magazines. Like everything he makes is so pretty. Like I buy The Believer. I have a Believer from 3 years ago. It's just sitting. I'm not opening it. What? Spindle the spine? So he's got this amazing charity. It's now, I think, in 5 American cities. It's incredibly successful, incredibly effective in terms of the amount of money that's donated that's turned directly into helping kids. And they have an associated charity called Scholar Match that finds scholarship money for kids, for talented high school kids who have gotten into college and can't afford to go. So these are kids that are in they've gotten into a 4-year school and they can't, I don't even know what do you do to pay for school now? Literally, sell blood? I don't even understand how. I graduated with a mortgage and that was 20 years ago. So I don't know how. I don't know how kids do it. So this charity, a lot of times the kids' goals is only a couple of $1,000s. That's all they need, $2,000 or $3,000. So like a $20 donation or a $50 donation is a big, big deal for Scholar Match. So if you want to, go online and visit the scholarmatch.org site or visit 826 Valencia site and see what they're doing. This is a guy who, lost his parents when he was young and then turned it into exploited his own tragedy for profit. And that's the American way, isn't it? So, and now he's doing stuff for other kids, and he's awesome. So the charity, the event's sold out, but you can still give, and there'll be other ones. Keep an eye out because Scholar Match does lots of fundraisers, and they're great. And Adam Savage is going to be there. What? And then we're going to blow some stuff up. No, MythBusters is so awesome. Okay.
Well, Aisha, on behalf of Google, the Black Googlers Network, and Women's at Google, and Authors at Google, I want to thank you very much for having this conversation with us today.
It was really fun. Thank you.
And I think guys, we have something for you.
Super, super fun. Oh!
Lots of swag.
Are you giving me the internet?
All the secrets are in the bag.
It's amazing how small it is when you put it in a bag. I bet there's some porn in it.
And a really quick announcement. Aisha brought some giveaways. So if you look under your chair and you have a yellow Post-it, you are going to get a DVD or a book or something or other. So if you have something, there's some chairs in the back. It might be something under there.
Thanks for listening, you guys. That was super nice of you. Thank you. Bye.